how do you do it? Should more leaders be in psychotherapy? Should they be mountain climbing? What are the mechanics of changing a limitation? I mean, after all, if it's your own limitation, presumably, you put it there. You're probably attached to it on some level.
Well, unconsciously maybe, but let's just talk about how it happens. People are not one way. We are a reflection of the states we're living in. When you're in a frustrated state, an overwhelmed state, a tired state, your brain processes completely differently than if you're in a passionate state, whether you're feeling determined, whether you're feeling committed, whether you feel completely resolved. So learning to change the leader's state, learning how to change your own state. Because, people, one of the silliest questions I get asked is, you're not really that happy, are you? Or you have bad days, don't you? Well, of course I have, bad times. But I don't have bad days anymore, and it's not BS. It's because I've trained myself like an athlete to go in these peak states so often that they're just natural for me. It's like building a muscle. So it's not like I'm so smart or I'm just so positive. It's just like, why would I waste my time stressing out? I have a 90-second rule. I'll stress for 90 seconds, but stress is not going to solve it. Let me put myself back in a different state. And so the way I do that is I use my body. Because I've done this with athletes for decades, with billionaire businessmen. If you see somebody gets in a slump of some sort, great athlete, Paul Tudor Jones, one of the greatest financial traders in the history of the world, I've coached him for 22 years. When I came to see him, this is a man who made 200% in 1987 when the stock market had its biggest single crash in the day, percentage-wise still. He made 200% for his clients, more money than anybody could dream of. Then he went to the moon and he went down to earth and then he lost money. So I was brought in to turn him around. Well, how do you turn a guy like that around? Yeah. I watched him. His shoulders were down. He was breathing like this. He's sitting like this the whole time because he'd been through these failures and it started to get stored in his body. Now in this state, this man is a genius, couldn't do it. So I watched films when he was at his best. And he's like standing up and he's doing this, he's this, we're gonna sell this, make this happen. And the movement, the intensity, the way he used his face. And so I showed him a video of himself today. I showed him a video when he was at his best. And I said, what do you notice? He was like, those are two different people. I said, yes, but we can get back to this guy by just using the body first. Trying to use your mind, you'll go in circles. But I've been teaching for years that a radical change in your body instantly changes your biochemistry. 38 years I've taught it. 2 years ago at Harvard, they did a study, scientifically proven what I've been teaching all these decades, where they call it power postures.
Yeah, the Wonder Woman stance.
Yeah, standing like Wonder Woman or Superman for 2 minutes.
Yep.
Or like you see a guy that's like this, pulled back like that for 2 minutes. Literally increases your testosterone in your biochemistry within 2 minutes by 20%. It drops cortisol by 18%, which is the stress hormone, and increases your chance of taking a more risky behavior, which is what's required of a leader, by 33%. 2 minutes. Now that's just standing a certain way. I show people use their voice, their body, their movement, which is 10 times more dynamic than just a stiff stance. And when you change your state, your mental, emotional state, you change your performance. Haven't you had times when you have can't remember how to spell a difficult word like the, or your own email
really
or something
tired,
like that?
Can't remember
what it is.
Cousin's name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you've had times where you're in the flow where after you do something you're like, I did that. I don't know how I did it, but I did it.
Absolutely.
I was in the flow. Well, you're the same person. The only difference is state. So training yourself to be in a peak state every day. I mean, you think about a great businessman. Think of a great entertainer like Elton John has been around in rock and roll for 40, how many years is it? 40 years?
70s, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's mind-boggling. And most people still like some sample of his music. Well, he's got to have days when he gets up to entertain, when he thinks, if you make me sing that Daniel song one more time, I'm going postal, right? But he never does. Every single time he's in that same beautiful state. That's not because he's naturally like that. He's trained himself to do that. Like a great athlete trains himself. That's what leaders have to do. The state of the union, the state of the company is the culture. And the culture starts at the head. Whoever that leader is, their state impacts everybody else. So training yourself to be in that peak state is the key to it all. I think ferocity of spirit is critical for everybody, but we all have it. It's like a muscle.
Do we all have it?
Yeah, we do. Courage unused, though, becomes weaker. Determination unused gets smaller. Passion unexpressed gets smaller. It's like any muscle, the more you use it. And he's been using it for years. His son, though, here's the other thing. He had a reason larger than himself. You see the pattern in all the people that have overcome. He wanted to do for his son. At the time, he told me about his worried about all his employees, and he really cares about his people. But here's the secret, though. You have to make that shift where it's no longer an excuse. If you give yourself an excuse, humans will take it. If you're going to take the island, you burn the boats. And he burned the boats and said, I'm going to find the answer. First, he shifted his psychology, came to my business mastery program, and then he got the skills. Because like I said earlier, it's not just confidence. You got to have skill, and he had both, and he found the way. Show them what you did.
Yeah. After that particular business mastery program, again, as Tony says, 80% of it is psychology. And then 20% of it is mechanics or the strategies.
Yeah.
But unless you get the psychology down, the mechanics don't matter. And I can tell you from that day in November of 2008 where I made that decision that I was not going to fail, and I kissed my lady and said, I'm going back to work. And we went out there and I learned how to export. And when there was no market for steel in the United States, I was able to export to several different companies or several different countries. And we took off from there. We continued to grow. And it was just, again, it's about a mindset. It's about having a level of pride. For me, it was coming from where I come from. The Melio name didn't mean a whole heck of a lot. And I was determined to change that because it's something of what I call generational influence. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for my son.
The other thing you should do if you're not very industrious is discipline yourself. And so what do you do with that? Eat 3 times a day at regular meal times. That's a good thing to practice because that starts to put some stability into your life. Get up at the same time. I would highly recommend all those young people out there who are listening, like, you want to get a jump on life, get the hell out of bed in the morning. As I've got older, I've got up earlier and earlier. Now that's partly because you don't need as much sleep, but it's also partly because I've got more and more disciplined. Like, get up early in the morning and get your things done. Man, learn to get up at 6 in the morning and you'll be one deadly creature, especially if you can get to work. You'll have half your damn day done by the time other people haul their sorry asses out of bed. And so that's a massive, massive advantage. Look, Warren Farrell, not the comedian, Warren Farrell, the author, he outlined data in Why Men Earn More, which is a book I would recommend, by the way, showing that if you work 13% longer hours, you make 40% more money. It's nonlinear. So you think, why is that? Well, imagine you had 10 employees and one of them works an extra 10%. It's not much. Well, how often is that person going to be promoted? Assuming you have a clue as a boss. It's like you're going to look at the 10 people and you're going to think, oh, that guy's always here like 45 minutes early. It's like, why don't we give him the promotion? Obviously, right? So these small edges that you can manage like that, work an extra 10% or extra 13%, have non-proportional payoffs. That's part of the Pareto distribution. So get your sleep cycle organized so you get up in the morning. Learn how to do it. No excuses. I'm too tired in the morning. I don't like mornings. Who cares? That's not relevant. It's like discipline yourself so you can manage it. Schedule your meals because that's a good disciplinary routine. And then learn to use a calendar like Google Calendar. Many of you out there do not use a calendar. Okay, a calendar is not a prison and it's not a tyrant. Not if you use it properly. A calendar keeps anxiety at bay. It makes sure that you do what you need to do, which is important because otherwise you fall behind. But if you use it properly, it also helps you plan what you want to do. So I could say, well, lay out your damn calendar and design the days you would like to have. That's what your calendar is for. So you can put in all sorts of things in there you want to do and that would be good for you. And that's a really good way to start being more industrious. Make a plan. You need a plan for 3 years. You need a plan for the next year. You need a plan for the next 6 months. You need a plan for the next 3 months. You need a plan for the week. You need a plan for the day. You need a plan for the hour. All of that. I make lists constantly of what I have to do. And they're like daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. Right now, I can't look out more than about 6 months, because my life is too complicated and chaotic. But you need a vision of who you could be, what character you could have. 3 to 5 years out, you can't go much farther than that because life is too unpredictable, I think, to make vision that's longer term than that subject to. There's too much chance associated with it to spend a lot of time on. Maybe you can stretch it to 5 years, and in rare cases, you can have a 10-year goal, but it has to be pretty low resolution. But you want plans at all those levels of resolution. You want to write the things down. And because what are you going to do? You're going to stumble around and get what you need? You're going to stumble around and be useful to other people? And it's useful to be useful to other people, you know? They want to work with you then. They want to do things with you. They want to have you around. They trust you. They open up opportunities for you. And if you stumble around like you're blind, you're not going to get anywhere. And then you're going to suffer. And then you're going to be bitter. And then you're going to be cruel. So that's hell. That's a bad outcome.
The most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it. You walk around with it. Eventually, you'll act on it. And my self-talk was the most disgusting self-talk of all time. So the sewer of my mind, like I said, you have to go back in there and fix things. A lot of us are afraid. Like right now, 20 years ago, you wouldn't have found me on this show. I was too embarrassed to tell you I stuttered. I lied. All these different things, getting beat up, getting bullied, whatever happened. But that's where the true transformation starts to happen. When you can look at people, anybody, thousands of people, one person, and say, hey, this is who I am. And this is where I have to fix myself. And this is where it really happened. I thought it happened when I was in, 19, 18 years old, trying to pass this military test. Right. It happened here when I was almost 300 pounds, spraying for cockroaches, making $1,000 a month. And people call me dumb. My dad called me so many things, it's not even funny. Being beat just stripped me of all self-esteem. This is when I realized I was alone on this earth. I have God, but alone on this earth, and I have to fix everything. So this is where I started to develop an indestructible mental toolbox.
Okay.
So I came home one night after spraying for cockroaches at Ecolab, and literally I was praying at Steak and Shake, and I would go across the street to 7-Eleven. I had a 45-minute commute home. So I worked from 11 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
I had a 45-minute commute home. And my stop would be, Steak and Shake, chocolate milkshake, across the street, 7-Eleven, box of mini chocolate donuts, and I would eat that on the way home.
Yeah, sure.
When I come home, I turn the TV on, I take my shake because the box of donuts they were killed.
Oh, yeah.
I kill those.
Yeah.
Go back to the back, turn the TV on and take a shower. Listen to the TV while I'm taking a shower. This day I heard these guys on the TV talking about Navy SEAL, toughest, class 224. So I heard stuff about Navy SEALs. These are the baddest of the baddest. So I come out and I'm watching this show while I'm drinking my shake. And when you're watching the show of guys who are putting out there and they're quitting left and right.
Oh, sure.
Just can't hang out. They're going through Hell Week. They show them going through first phase, second phase, third phase, and they're dropping like flies. I looked in this one guy's eyes who was ringing the bell to quit, to put his helmet down out of Navy SEAL training, and I saw myself. And I saw what everybody said I was going to be, which was nothing. What I said I was going to be, that conversation you have, that's who I was. So that's why I lied to people to tell them a different version of the truth.
Sure.
I had to make all those lies reality. I had to make them real. I had to become a real person. So that's when I put in my mind that I'm going to go to the toughest military training on the planet. And where it has the most water, the thing I was scared of the most, I had to go back. So a lot of us run away from our fears.
Sure.
And we box ourselves in to a lifestyle of this is all we can do.
Right.
Because I'm afraid of everything outside this box.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable inside this box. I jumped the box.
Oh, you did, yeah.
For the first time in my life. Mentally, I jumped the box and said, hey, I got to come out here and play.
Lesson 1, get an additional 30 minutes of sleep a night. Take it as a challenge. Try to find that space, quiet your mind, and get your 30 minutes of sleep. And you'll see it makes a really, really big difference. My sleep habits were horrendous, to say the least. I mean, I've always had a hard time sleeping. I couldn't figure out how to shut my brain off. So what made the light bulb come on is that I went out there and played a game, and I played like crap. And I was like, why am I playing like crap? Because I've been practicing these same moves over and over and over. But yet, I couldn't execute them properly. I was feeling sluggish, I was feeling lethargic, and I knew it wasn't because of my training, because I had trained obsessively. So then I started looking at other things. And that's when I came to the realization that, hey, Cole, you're not 21 years old anymore, buddy. Like, maybe the fact that you're sleeping 2 or 3 hours a night, maybe that has something to do with the fact that you're playing like crap. And that's when I started really evaluating those days. And I'd say lesson 2 would be just 5 minutes of quiet time. 5 minutes for you to be mindful and to just sit and find that inner voice and just kind of listen to the self. Preferably would be in the morning as you start your day. I meditate every day. And I do it in the mornings, and I do it for about 10 to 15 minutes. And I think it's important because it sets me up for the rest of the day. It helps me. It's like having an anchor. If I don't do it, I feel like I'm constantly chasing the day, as opposed to being able to be controlled and dictate the day. Not that you're, calling the shots on what comes forward, but the fact that I am set and ready for whatever may come my way. I have a calmness about whatever comes my way and a poise. And that comes from starting the morning off with meditation. For me, it's really just listening to my inner self. I mean, that's basically it. Like you sit in silence and you just allow these thoughts to come forward, and you get a chance to observe the self and things that may be lying beneath the surface that if you don't have that time to sit quietly on your own, you'll never pay attention to. Because if you think about it, the reality is we're paying attention to so many things that are going on around us. We're constantly taking selfies, we're constantly taking pictures to post on Instagram and all these other things, and we're constantly observing everything that's around us, but we don't take the time to really observe what's going on inside of ourselves. And that's what meditation is for me. In 2000, we had a new head coach that came to the Los Angeles Lakers by the name of Phil Jackson. And Phil was just coming off of winning 6 championships with the Bulls. And he was really big on mindfulness and really big on meditation, and it wasn't an option for us. So we'd sit in our film room, and he'd turn the lights out, and we would meditate as a group, and he'd teach us mindfulness. And it really connected with me because he was teaching mindfulness through something that I was extremely passionate about, which was the game of basketball. So it was told through the lens of, this is going to help you here. And so I had this curiosity about it. And that was my introduction to meditation. And then seeing the poise that we play with, the fact that we can be in a hostile environment with fans yelling and screaming and pressure situations, and it having no effect on us. Because we were never too high, never too low. We were just in the moment and felt very secure in who we were. And that was my introduction to meditation. I had a great experience, which really I learned a lot about meditation through this experience. I was on a jet ski, and I took the jet ski out in the ocean, and I just kind of sat. And I just let the current just take me wherever it was going to take me. And I really saw a lot of meditation through that moment because I wasn't trying to control the moment. I wasn't trying to force myself upon the waves and dictate where I was going to go. I just let the waves take me there. There was a lot of peacefulness involved in that.
God may be giving you more to work with than what you are working with at this time. That's why I don't like to hang with low-thinking people, because they'll make you underutilize what God has given you. You need somebody to challenge you that you could be doing more than what you're doing right now. You could have more than you have right now. You could go further than you're going right now, and somebody's got to be bold enough to look you in the face and empower you to go into the enemy's camp and take back what he stole from you.
Now listen to me. I don't care if you're sick. I don't care what you're going through. If you're not dead, he ain't through with you yet. As long as you waking up, you still in the game. You can still make it happen. As long as that breath in your nostrils breathe, you still in the game. You still can win. Now get your butt up.
I want to encourage somebody out there who's thinking about quitting and giving up. Somebody who has been praying for years for things to turn around. You're thinking about quitting, you're thinking about giving up, you are caving in. This is for you.
Pick up your damn suffering and bear it and try to be a good person so you don't make it worse. That's what life is like. It's suffering.
I'm in a fight for my life. I'm in a fight to be a man. I'm in a fight to be a father. I'm in a fight to be a mama. Some of me wants to quit it and walk away. I'm in a fight. Give me somebody to hit.
Have you ever just had one of those days when your parachute doesn't open? The race has started, but your gate won't unlock. You can't keep it in the fairway. You just can't keep up. You can't keep your head above water. It's just one of those days.
Strive to become the kind of person that people of quality and substance would want to be associated with. Become a person of skillful language, well-read and well-disciplined, positive attitude, a person of culture and intelligence. You will be uniquely rewarded by this reputation, drawing exciting people to you. Remember, to attract valuable people, you must be attractive. Association is truly one of the 7 fundamentals to your future wealth and happiness. It has such a major effect on how your life works out.
You got to go through some things in order for you to get faith. You've got to have some life experiences under your belt so you can talk about how strong your faith is. Because if your faith has never been tested, you can't brag on how strong it is.
And if you're not careful, you will allow situations in this life to cloud your perspective. And you will allow moments in this life to take away the hopes and the dreams of tomorrow. Failure, it's not final, it's formative. It's part of the journey. How are you gonna learn if you don't ever fail? Failure is fuel for your future. Failure is a part of your story. The only time you fail is the last time you try. You need to get the right perspective on it, because this failure, it will not end in death, but this failure is a part of you being formed.
Quit school, quit jobs, quit life, quit friends. Oh, what an urge it is to quit.
Don't give up. Stay in it. Stay focused.
Sometimes when you enter into a storm, health storms, financial storms, there are all kinds of storms. I'm talking about storms that other people can't see. Storms that make people think you haven't been through anything. Because you get up out of bed every morning and you put your hair up and they don't know you put your smile on just like you did your makeup and walked in smiling because you were going through a secret storm. Has anybody ever gone through a secret storm?
What you want is a powerful motivator, but the reason why you want it is an even more powerful motivator. It has greater pull. You may find that some of your goals you thought at first glance were important are not important after all. Do some reflecting, refining, and revising.
The joy is not in the success. The joy is in trying. The joy is in the process, that I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep going at it. See, failure is forming my future. Failure is just another peg in the ladder for me to go higher. I don't want to just know how to make it work. I want to know why it doesn't work. And the only way I can find that out is I got to fall on my face. But guess what? The righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up.
And you can run faster with 100 who want to go than with one around your neck. These people are bad for your health. Toxic relationships are relationships with people that always criticize you. All they can do is find fault. All they can do is just exploit your weaknesses. All they can do is remind you of the mistakes that you've made in the past. See, there are some people that aren't good for you. So you got to look at the people in your life and find out what kind of person are you becoming because of that relationship. Birds of a feather flock together. You run around with losers, you will end up a loser.
You're doing the best you can, but you put 1 foot forward and 2 steps are made back. You're trying, but things don't seem to be quite working out the way you planned. You thought you'd be in a different place at this season in your life. You're doing everything right, but you're still suffering.
The way you enjoy life best is to wrap up one goal and start right on the next one. Don't linger too long at the table of success. The only way to enjoy another meal is to get hungry. Another thing to check for on your list is that you have included goals for each of these 3 important categories. First, make certain your list includes material items you want, such as a home, furniture, a car, or jewelry. Don't attach the wrong importance to things, but they are important. Make sure you've listed your economic goals, your goals for income, profits, and productivity. Third, you'll want to include on your list goals for personal development. Your goals to be more physically fit, to lose weight, to be a more effective leader, to be more decisive, to be a better communicator, to learn another language. Of course, there are other types of goals to consider: social goals, family goals, lifestyle goals. This is pretty heavy homework, but remember, whether or not you do your homework shows up in the marketplace as well as in the classroom.
There's nothing in this world that can defeat us if God is for us. And if God be for us, who can be against us? It is impossible to have victory and think bondage. It's impossible to be happy and think sadness and depression.
When I'm discouraged, I need somebody to come alongside me to encourage me that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That kind of talk wakes up my faith. It stirs my faith to know that no matter how dark my situation, God can work it out.
Most of y'all are able to say you don't like your friends. You don't trust them. They tell all of your deep, dark secrets. So why are they still there? Because you go to sleep at night doesn't mean that you're resting. See, I realized if your life and the people that you have in your life creates nightmares for your life, what makes you think that because you're going to sleep that your mind is going to stop? The nightmares that you're having while you're awake, you're witnessing nightmares. Drama, dysfunction, negative people, you consuming your life. It's like, oh, there's negative dysfunction and drama. You're going to walk into the direction of dysfunction and nightmares.
I'm encouraging you to be mindful and be deliberate of what you let in your mind. Be concerned about what's going on and do the things necessary that keeps you out of harm's way. But don't be consumed with it. So make up your mind to watch something that inspires you, that lift you up as you rethink your life in self-examination.
It's essential to set aside some time every week to review all of your goals, redo them, restructure them, to add goals, or to tear up the whole list and start over. Goal setting is not something you do just once. It's a continual process. Also, you must constantly check your progress toward your goals. You don't want to fall too far behind on, or worse, lose sight of, your important goals. Now, just as important as your long-range goals are your short-range goals. Your goals for tomorrow, next week, next month. These are goals you can accomplish within the next year, the immediate future. We call these goals confidence builders. When you work hard, burn the midnight oil, and accomplish these little things, it builds your confidence to go for your long-range goals. Write down in your notebook or journal all the little things you would like to have or accomplish in the next year. How you set up this list is up to you. You might want to break it down by week or by month. Set it up in whatever way works well for you. Part of the fun of having a list is being able to check off something as obtained or completed. Every week, try to check off at least one thing on your list of short-term goals. And when you are able to check off something major, something on your list of long-range goals, celebrate. Congratulate yourself. Make winning joyful. It is very important to celebrate progress. We grow from two experiences. One is the joy of winning, and the other is the pain of losing. Here's what that also means. Make losing painful. Put it on yourself. If you set something up, fooled around, didn't pull it off, put it on yourself. And get around people who will help in this area. Hey, don't join an easy crowd. Go where the expectations are high, where the pressure to perform is high. It's how we grow.
Somebody needs to know today you're going to make it. Somebody needs to know today you're doing all right. You may not be what you ought to be, but you're not what you used to be. And you're going to get there by God's grace. Don't you give up, don't you quit, and don't you keep putting yourself down. You're doing better than you think you are.
You lay in the bed wrestling with ghosts of what ifs and maybes and suppose and I think and I heard and I felt, and you wake up tired in the morning because you might have slept but you didn't rest because all in your sleep you've been fighting. Most people are living their lives from a heart place and not a head place. They are so engrossed with what the heart feels that they have not covered what the head thinks. Most people are governed by their emotions.
We all need associations with people of substance to provide influence concerning major issues: society, money, love, culture, friendship, taste, enterprise, family, opportunity, community. Behavior is mostly influenced by ideas, and ideas are mostly influenced by education, and education is mostly influenced by the people with whom we associate. So don't join an easy crowd. Make sure you get around people who can ask the right questions about the latest ideas you've discovered, about your philosophy, your enterprise, your goals, your lifestyle. Go where the demands are high, where the spotlight is on to grow, where the expectations are high, to produce and to become more than you currently are.
This is the time to look at the relationships in your life and ask the question, what kind of person am I becoming because of this relationship? Am I growing mentally and emotionally and spiritually? Am I becoming a better person because of this relationship? Is it an asset to me or a liability?
Everybody has something that strikes terror in them to do it. Whatever you got hurt at, whatever you got damaged in, is the thing that you struggle to do. Those strongholds come against you every time you try to move outside of your little prison. And people think you are angry, but the anger is the fruit. The root is the fear. Most angry people are scared. Pull it by the root. Strongholds. Casting down imaginations. Envisioning self-destruction. The enemy terrorizing you with what he might do.
That storm that you're in, it seems like that storm is enveloping the whole world. Hard to see out of that storm. It's hard to see past it. It seems like the storm is everything. You can get out of the storm, and you will get out of the storm. But right now, you're being tried. You're being tested by fire and by pain. Don't fail the test.
Measurable progress, and having someone to monitor that progress. I will never forget my first list of goals that I put together. My list contained only 4 or 5 items. When I showed it to him, he said, "Is this your list?" I said, "Yes." Then he started asking those very wise questions. "How about your health goals?" I didn't have any of those on my list. He asked, How about your investment goals? Those were lacking. Your family goals. How about your travel goals? How about your goals for gifts and sharing? What would you like to become? Who would you like to meet? What skills would you like to develop? Did you ever want to write a book, a poem? Would you like to be a sophisticated person of power and influence and culture? Would you like to be debt-free? How about education for your children? How about a splendid library stocked with the best of books? Would you like to see New York, visit Paris, explore Rome? Would you like to make some new friends? Did you ever want to parachute out of an airplane? Do you need a ranch someday, a cabin in the mountains? Is there something you'd like to prove, a mark you'd like to make?
I've resolved in my spirit that every experience is my education. So the good experiences and the bad experiences, I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to discover the opportunity for me to grow and for me to get better. I'm telling you, I've already made up my mind that I know I will fall down. I know that I will stumble, but I already see myself getting back up. Therefore, I'm never down. I'm either up or getting back up. I'm going to learn.
How much do you love yourself? You don't trust them, so why are they still there? So if you get rid of these things, people, and situations now, you get rid of the nightmares now, they're not going to have anything new to spread about you. You're in the new season of your life. I want you to win. I want you to get to the next level.
You need to change your mind because some of you are thinking about giving up because you're in a season of failure. But just because you failed doesn't mean that God doesn't have a bright future in store for you. It is always too soon to quit.
Remember, major keys to your better future are going to be ideas and information. If we have any lack, it is not because we lack money or opportunity or resources. It is because we lack ideas that have taken form from information. If you search, you will find. So that is the way to discover ideas and life-changing information. Search. In order to find, you must search. You must go and engage in conversations with people of substance. You must go looking, go searching. Rarely does a good idea interrupt you. And as you make a diligent search, you will find just the ideas you need.
If you want to know how to change your life, I give it to you in 3 words, boring as it sounds. Raise your standards. Everybody in life gets their musts. They don't get their shoulds. Most people have a list of shoulds, don't they? Don't you have a list of things you should do, you should follow through on? I should lose some weight, I should work out more, I should get into the office earlier. People love to have their should lists be met, but it's kind of like New Year's resolutions to kind of know it's not going to happen. But when you decide something is a must for you, and you cut off any possible, you say, I'm going to find the way or I'm going to make the way. Human beings, when they resolve things, when they make a real resolution inside themselves, which is they raise the standard, they make it a must, they find a way to make things work. Because somewhere when we make this click, when we make something a must, we attach ourselves to it. It becomes part of our identity. Whatever people have their identity attached to, they live. We live who we believe we are. Your physical body today is an absolute reflection of only one thing, not your goals, not your desires, but your standards. If you identify yourself in a new way and you own that every day, and that becomes the standard of how you live, you'll find the way to make that standard real. It all comes down to the inner game, my friends. Changing your life is a change in the inner game. The outside world you can't control, but you have absolute control over this one if you learn the dynamics of what shapes you. Instead of your goals to lose 10 pounds, which is not compelling, what if your vision was to get back to my fighting weight? You know, this year, this month, this next 90 days, I'm going to transform my body. I'm going to take on a new challenge. I'm going to find some technique or strategy. There's a million of them.
that can reframe myself where I'm going to feel younger, stronger, more vibrant than ever before. Here's my reasons, because I want the energy to really make my life work, because it's tough out there and I want to be stronger than I've ever been before. Don't let this year be like last. And if last year was great, still don't let it be that way. Raise the standard. If your life is perfect and extraordinary, you darn well know you're not going to be happy unless you keep making it better. It's not what we get that makes us happy, it's who we become. The only thing that's going to make you happy, my friend, in this year or any other, is to step up. It's to raise the standard. It's to discover what you're capable of and feel that incredible power pushing through whatever's holding you back and get to the other side of more of your true self.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.